Good afternoon and welcome to Today on BayTV. We are live in Swansea on Wednesday the 14th of June 2017. I'm Henry Darby-Cook, next to me is the wonderful Gaynor Morgan.
And we have with us the wonderful Canon Ian Rees of St Mary's Church in Swansea. And of course the even more wonderful, dare I say, Ruth Madoc. Thank you for coming in and joining us. So yes, we're going to have a good morning, I think.
We have to start with the news we all woke up to in London. We're going to hear from a fire safety expert now on the scene.
To try to put it as simply as one can, a fire breaks out in a flat on a given floor, and one of your key points here is that fire should be contained. There should be fire doors, there should be other elements in place. That's how.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't spread through the rest of the building.
No, absolutely not. It should be contained, first of all, in the flat of origin. We assume a fire from a flat of origin. It should be contained within that individual flat. Then the fire should be, next containment level should be fire doors along the escape routes, certainly to the stairwell. So that should be a second protection to the stairwell. So the stairwell should be kept clear. If those two things are done, then people have got time to get out if they need to.
Unbearable story, really, and you can see the agony etched on the commentators and the emergency services. Canon Ian Rees, your thoughts?
Horrendous. I woke up at night actually, and there was you could tell something had happened, and you fear all the worst again, terrorism. But actually, it's just a horrendous story of people being trapped inside, perhaps, and all the fear, and also the ongoing fear of people living in tower blocks now who are going to be thinking, could that be us tomorrow? And you know, there's huge questions to be asked about how it happened and how it happened so quickly. You know,
and again, you know, are the poorest in our society being looked after? You know?
Well, they didn't. I don't know about that, but the people that were interviewed this morning, I mean, they were all working people.
It appears to be poor quality housing.
But it's the poor quality housing, which should have, I suppose, should have been addressed, shouldn't it?
And it sounds like there had been complaints about it already, didn't it? There'd been an action group set up.
Yes, I presume so. But who knows about these claddings? I mean, funnily enough, I was in Manchester the end of last year, and I was staying in a hotel, one of these, chain of hotels, and there were some men that were there cladding a building. And they said it was totally theirs. I did ask because I had been in great big tower blocks when I worked in Japan, and they were the tallest I've ever been in. They were like 90 stories or whatever they were. I hated them purely because of the fright of a fire or something, or flooding or anything really, a disaster. But these fellows that we got to know said that this was totally fireproof, and that's why they were putting it on. So presumably, was it the cladding? Was it this? Was it that? You know, we won't know until it's actually been.
All questions.
You know, it's an unfolding story, and sadly, it already sixed us.
Yes, indeed. Poor London has been really hit, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
You know, in the last 4 weeks, it's been awful.
Terror of the people there, but also the emergency services. They have really had to steel themselves. And
well, they were describing it in the night, and the emergency services going into the building, which at one point they were wondering about it collapsing, and they were still going in to do it, and you know, incredible bravery just to keep doing that.
Again, the acts of kindness you see instantly though, and the act of community, where London is usually known to be cold and unfriendly. Instantly you see Jamie Oliver saying all of his restaurants can be refuge centres where people can eat and drink and gather.
And people bring clothes by the first thing this morning ready for people.
And there was a community centre. It wasn't a community centre. It was a sports centre, almost opposite, that was vast apparently, this place. So it was opened up immediately. You know, like in 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was, for people that could go there. Because it isn't only the people that have been caught in that fire, it's the residents around, isn't it? That we forget in a way.
There are harrowing stories of mothers looking for their own daughters who in turn are mothers of children and going from centre to centre.
Terrible. Really, not good.
Very
not
sad.
good.
Our hearts go out to the families and friends involved.
Indeed.
We're going to go on to On This Day. Obviously, today's the 14th of June. Some key events war-wise, wasn't it, Gaynor?
Yes, I think it was on this day, wasn't it, that the Germans marched into Paris.
Gosh.
And I think the swastika flew from the Eiffel Tower. Unthinkable, really, now, isn't it? And all the events that were to follow, and I think well, they were under siege, really, and the Vichy government was formed, I think, 8 days later, wasn't it?
Yes.
Weren't you evacuated to Swansea?
I was evacuated to Swansea at the age of 3 weeks. Purely because my parents realised that the war was escalating. I was born in 1943, and there was this big push going on, apparently, so Mum and Dad told me to get it actually curtailed as soon as possible. But of course it took another 2 years after that. I can vaguely remember, I must have been about 2.5, 3, I suppose, going down an air raid shelter that used to have it in the garden. You know, these sort of Anderson shelters.
That must have been very frightening for a child of that age.
Because nobody said anything. Nobody, absolutely, it was just accepted. And that's been the most interesting thing about this terrible catastrophe it had last night. It's sort of been everybody hands on deck. You know, let's get on with it. Let's not question now. Let's get on with it. And that's what I believe happened during the war, from the time 1949 to 1945. But I don't think people realise just how austere Great Britain was after the war. Now, Auschwitz apparently opened today, all those years ago,
correct,
70-odd years ago. Now, I can believe that because the Germans were meticulous in their record keeping.
Chillingly so.
Absolutely, and this is why we have so much data of what atrocities happened during the war. But I have to say it was the austerity, really, which of course we thought was the norm.
Well, I was born in 1952, my husband in 1951. He had a ration card, he's older than me. But yes, it was. It's lino and grey. And Cardiff was grey, I felt. Quite a grey place.
The only thing it did have was trolley buses, which I absolutely adored.
Yeah.
Because my parents by this time were up in Hull, and I used to be able to go and see them through, I have to say, very kind people in either the Welsh Society coming down from wherever they were, from Hull, which is now the City of Culture this year, you know, or going back, taking me back, because petrol was still at a premium, sweets were at a premium, there was so much still that is at a premium. But in 1950, I think it was 1951 or 52, I don't really know, to tell you the truth, because it was always glossed over in my family. I was about 7, and this lady was bringing me down to Swansea, and the train crashed in Doncaster, I believe. And there was a lot of people killed in this crash. But she had the sense to go up the line, across Stockport, Staley Bridge, all round that way. And we got to St Mary's in Swansea at about 11:45 that night. Do you know, it wasn't until about 45 years later, when Eamon Andrews did This Is Your Life for me, that the lady came forward and told the story. It was never, ever made a big thing of in my family, because I was never frightened of trains. It was very interesting.
Canon Ian Rees is very quiet. He's too young to remember all this, and I'm sure you are as well.
I'm just pretending, really. No,
Are they all grim things on the stage?
Well, in the final moments, 1946, Donald Trump was born. Whoever thought that he'd be such an important man?
I was looking for a lighter story.
Well, and June 1928, Che Guevara was born. So two ends of the spectrum there. Someone leading a revolution and, well,
Yeah.
Obviously,
Well,
Donald
I think
Trump.
probably done well is the way to put it.
Yes.
And we're living in a very strange time at the moment, aren't we? In a state of flux, everything is everything up for grabs, really. Now, I think, isn't it?
It is. It's something we're going to talk about more in the second half. We're going to have a look at the papers and the
we look forward
news.
to that. Thank you both very much for keeping Ruth Madoc with us, and also I think Canon Ian Rees is staying with us to chew the fat. I think, Henry.
We'll see you in a minute on BayTV.
Welcome back to Today on BayTV. I'm Gaynor Morgan. With me is Henry Darby Cook. Ruth Madoc is with us, and also Canon Ian Rees. Thank you both.
Before we have a look at the papers and chat to both of them, let's have some music from Holy Home Video.
Bright lights in big cities, I got sand in my shoes. It ain't hard to feel pretty, but I can still sing the blues. You know I love to stay, but I'm gonna miss my train. 'Cause I'm gonna be Cali born again. Sing songs about the highway with sweet baby James. You know the sun don't ever set, and the vultures always screaming your names. You know I love to stay, but I'm gonna miss my train. 'Cause I'm gonna be Cali born again. Tell me, have you heard about the Queen of LA? She's got a sundress on and a crown made of pure cocaine. She's heading my way, and I'm gonna be Cali born again. 'Cause I'm gonna be Cali born again.
Wow, that's some talent, and we'll be hearing more later in the show. But for now, we turn to really what's on the news, and I think, Canon Ian Rees, you've come hot foot from a very significant service in St Mary's Church today.
Yeah, we had a special service today for the 35th anniversary of the commemoration of the liberation of the Falklands. So a service attended by about 50 or so veterans as well, some Welsh Guards and various other people who served in the Falklands, and some families as well of people who were down there. So it's always a nice occasion. It was one of the first things I did when I went to St Mary's last year. So it's just second time round today.
It was quite emotional, really.
Yeah, no, it's very poignant, and I think they get together today, and they don't very often get together, obviously, but it's, you know.
Doesn't seem 35 years, does it, Ruth?
Certainly doesn't. I remember it very, very well because my husband only just left the army after 25 years. Yeah. And he had of course, he would be on the long service list, you see. So his bags were packed. Well, we'd only just got married in the April. And, you know, it was a very sad occasion that he might go. But the thing was that, of course, he was trained to go. You know, and he was only a man of about 40 odd, so he was fit and able to do it, you know. But they did it by alphabetical order, I think. So he's a J, a Jackson. So in fact, actually, it didn't get to him, I don't think. But he would certainly have gone straight away.
It was quite
without
shocking.
any qualm. You know.
It was quite shocking, wasn't it?
Yes, it was very important for us because, of course, the Welsh Guards played such a big role.
Yeah. It was one of those that really brought conflicts home, wasn't it? You know, there hadn't been conflicts that touched this country as much since the Second World War, really, and it really did bring it home again.
Indeed.
That, you know, people.
Indeed, it was. It did bring a lot home as to what war is about.
And you had the sort of images of people like Simon Weston who, you know, has done such a lot since, but you know, a transformed life really, obviously from there, and it was incredible work. So.
Yes, so I think we should carry on. Really.
Yeah, we're going to go to. Obviously, everyone was back in Parliament yesterday. Jamie Corbyn, bit chipper from when we last saw him in Parliament. Shall we have a little look what he had to say?
It is customary on these occasions to congratulate the returning Prime Minister, and I absolutely do so. And I congratulate her on returning, and I'm sure she will agree with me that democracy is a wondrous thing and can throw up some very unexpected results. And I'm sure we all look forward to welcoming the Queen's speech just as soon as the coalition of chaos has been negotiated. And, Mr. Speaker, I just let the House know and the rest of the nation know that if that's not possible, the Labour Party stands ready to offer strong and stable leadership in the national interest.
Well, Jeremy Corbyn did play a blinder, didn't he, in the
He did.
in the election. But I'm not sure if it's dawned on them yet that they didn't actually win.
Well, you know, the euphoria of what happened, I think, as far as they were concerned, they'd won, you know. But democracy doesn't work like that. And,
but democracy has a way of working out.
It does,
indeed.
You know,
people were clearly unhappy before the referendum.
Absolutely.
They were clearly unhappy after the referendum.
Thing, don't you think the interesting thing was the Conservatives went on pure referendum, and the Labour Party and other parties, I have to say, went on the state of the nation as we live it. You know, so that was the interesting thing about it.
It's a great lesson, isn't it? That politicians need to listen and then just think about things. And I think Labour have had a difficult time, but have obviously reflected a little as well in that difficult period. And you do wonder a little bit of whether the Conservative Party did reflect very much, or whether they just grabbed what they thought were opportunities, and those proved to be fairly poor for them, in poor choices.
People certainly didn't respond to being, one might say, told what to do, did they?
No.
But I think there's a lot of work to be done, and perhaps going forward.
Oh, I think now that, as you say, democracy will flush it out. It will happen, whatever. You know, let's hope that the Brexit doesn't leave us completely deplete. You know, well, I think that's my worry.
If we look at the front pages today, we'll start with the Daily Telegraph, but obviously all the papers are dominated with Theresa May, very busy yesterday. She then hot-footed it to France, where apparently May has been told by the French president, UK can still back out of Brexit.
Yes, but that's not democracy.
No.
Unfortunately, I mean, nearly the whole of Wales, if you look at it, the actual population of Wales, 90% of them, wanted Brexit. So you can't say, you know, it's all very well the president of France saying, oh, you can back out now if you want to, You know, we can't.
Well, there's talk of a second referendum, isn't there?
I think that.
Well, if that happens, that will be good, I think, because I think people didn't realise
It is a work in progress.
just what was at stake.
I think people did it as kind of protest as
Yes,
well.
they did
and I think
again,
that finality wasn't really realised, and I think a second chance would be perhaps put things a little bit clearer.
Into perspective.
Yeah.
Macron, for better or worse, has tapped into the fact that it is a work in progress now more than ever before, really.
Absolutely.
Well, what's your feeling, Ian, among the people of Swansea? Because
I think, I think the people of Swansea voted generally in favour of Brexit to an extent, and I think, but I'm not sure it's what they necessarily wanted. But I think it was a way of protesting, a way of saying things aren't working out as they are, and I think that's one of the sad things. Politics of fear has been allowed to grow up. We've been able to portray people as bad and portray people as sort of difficult, and actually just fear has made people do things which they...
And of course the youngsters stepped up to the plate, didn't they? Yes.
They did.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How good is that, you know, to get them involved? Because that is your problem. You've got to get these young people involved.
Yes, well, let's hope they'll stay involved anyway. Thank you both, anyway, for discussing on...
Next, I'm going to be subbed out for Keith Millwood, and John Jackson's going to be joining the sofa.
So
See you
we
in a
look
minute.
forward to that.
Welcome back to Today on BayTV. I'm Keith Millwood, and this, of course, is Gaynor Morgan.
And Ruth Madoc has stayed with us, and also her husband, John Jackson, has joined us. Thank you. Ruth, before we go any further...
Well, hello, campers. Heidi, hi.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for that. Oh, my gosh. Well, I should say congratulations on your career. I was going to say that it's a 4-decade career, but you were telling me earlier that you started in...
1958.
Oh, wow.
And it was bright and bubbly as ever.
What's your secret? What is the secret now for looking so young and for the longevity of your career?
I think it's sitting next to her.
I think so. That's the answer, John. It's all down to you.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. But what would you say?
I think it's because I love my business. I love it. There's always something to learn in it. I've been reinvented so many times in those years. I was very lucky that I was trained very well. I went to RADA when I was 16. Then I went to the Royal Academy of Music. I've been by default, I've been steered in the right direction to have longevity in my chosen career. But the thing is that I've never looked at myself as anything but a good jobbing actress.
Yes. The basis of everything, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. But, you know, I'm not... yes, people know who I am, thank goodness, because commercially I can put bottoms on seats. Fab. But I am part and parcel of a company. When I work with them, I work as a team with them. And it is about team effort, you know, nearly all theatre work is.
You're a Swansea girl, yes?
Yes.
But you were born in England?
I was born in England and brought down here at 3 weeks of age because of the war and the difficult circumstances that my parents found themselves in. My mum was a matron of 4 hospitals, and my father was what they called a master in those days, would be a senior administrator. So they had an awful lot to contend with and very little staff. So to have a baby as well was very difficult. So Gran came to the rescue, and I was brought up with Gran for quite some time.
The best upbringing you could have. Swansea Valley upbringing.
Absolutely fabulous. Yes. But the greatest thing was that she had a harp in the front room, she had an harmonium in the front room, and a piano. She was very artistic, and I'm sure that's why I had not many people to play with of my age, 2 boys, but no girls hardly. And she would just take me when I was bored into the front room. I'd be taught a hymn or whatever, or a piece of poetry that she'd written or whatever. So it literally was from a very young age that I got to appreciate the Sankey and Moody hymn book, I have to say.
Yes.
But it was a good start. You know.
And then, of course, you went to RADA.
Yes.
Because you're known for the world of light entertainment. And I know I've seen you many years ago in Bristol. One of the favourite pantomimes I ever saw, Dick Whittington, with the Heidi High cast.
Yes.
And
yes.
Do you remember that coming on stage and singing Fortuosity?
Fortuosity.
That's the one from The
That's
Happiest
right,
Millionaire. And yet you've played major roles like Mama Rose in Gypsy, and then alongside Harry Seacombe with Pickwick, and then I remember serious drama, Taste of Honey. So how do you approach each of these different roles? Is there a different approach for the lighter entertainment to the drama?
Yes, I think that it's slightly different. With music, when you've got a song in a show, that takes you invariably on about 4 pages of dialogue emotionally. It's very interesting when you look at how those musicals especially, and the one I'm doing now, but we'll come on to that.
Yes.
How they're constructed is that the particular song doesn't halt the thrust of the actual performance, with theatre, with plays, it's a bit different because you have to have a line which is, you have to bring the actual end of the play nearer to you.
Ah, yes, yes.
And that's the way I approach different things. Musicals are very different. And of course they take longer to, invariably take longer to rehearse than a play. Although a play should have an equal amount of time because they are invariably far more complex to actually work out.
Through the character.
You know, through the character and through what the playwright meant.
No chance of your marriage getting stale, Jonathan. You never know who's coming home, dear.
Well, I never know who's coming home. Absolutely. You see a different person on stage every night.
Great,
and not only on stage, because of course, more recently there's been Little Britain on the television.
Oh, yes.
And Coming Home, where you found out a little bit more about your ancestry.
Indeed, but you must tell them about what happened with Little Britain. John, go on, tell them. When you took it from the...
When I took it from the post, you mean?
Yeah.
From the fax machine.
Fax machine.
And I read the script, you know, and I went to Ruth, I said, there's no way you can do this. I mean, it's very rude. You can't start swearing on television, you see. So we decided to fax it through, which is not allowed really, but we did. We faxed it through to Ruth's son, Rees, up in London at his office, and said, what do you think of this? Now, Rees got on the phone and said, don't worry, Mum, you'll get street cred for this.
And I think you have, haven't you? David's mum.
Which she did, yeah, David's mum, yeah.
I mean, it was very rude. And I sincerely did not know what quite a few of the words meant in it. I had to ask John or ask my son. Again, it reinvented me to a certain audience, you see, Gaynor. So, you know, it gave another little fillip to to my career and all the rest of it. No, it's been very interesting. That I think probably I'm game for most things that they've decided now.
You've done pantomime, as I say, serious drama, musicals, television. What stands out as the Peach role or the Peach TV series or entertainment? What would you say?
Well, I have to say Heidi High, really. Purely because, I mean, it went on for nearly 9 years, and one of my children was at infant school and then was ready to go to university by the time we'd finished. But having said, on a deeper vein than that, artistically, for comedy, it is amazing. The BBC, in its wisdom last year, decided to reissue them. And it got, I think they only did about, 29 of the 60-odd episodes. But it got 8 million viewers in the afternoon. Which is hardly ever heard
And the great thing is you're known for it, for Heidi High, but you're not typecast.
Well, it took a little bit of time, I'll be quite honest, Gaynor, and that's where musicals came in very handy. I did an American thing called Nightclub Confidential. Straight after the last series had finished, and then I did Gypsy. So I did a load of American stuff. And as it happened, I've got a reasonable American accent, you know. So that helped to make them realise that, you know, I just wasn't Heidi High. Them being the producers, the directors, people that offer you work in our business, you know.
I don't think, as it happens, I think you put a lot of hard work into everything you do, don't you? That's the
She really does, yeah, I have to say. And I'm not being biased at all. Very conscientious, very professional, absolutely brilliant, yeah.
Oh, that's an accolade.
Well, I do have to say...
But I have to say that, mate.
I couldn't do it without John.
I want a game of golf next Wednesday.
I want a game of golf
next Wednesday. I have next Wednesday off, please?
Well, we look forward to hearing more about the wedding singer in particular after the break, and we'll find out how you do continue and have this zest for and vitality to create characters.
And perhaps a little bit about your family life, then we'll talk to you after the break.
We'll carry on our chat just after the break. And more music from Holy Home Video.
Welcome back to Today on BayTV. I'm Gaynor Morgan, this is Keith Millward, Ruth Madoc and John Jackson are still with us. Thanks for staying with us.
Ruth, should we talk about the wedding singer?
Yes.
Oh, right. Right, OK. This is the project I'm doing at the moment.
Yes, of course.
And we're in Swansea at the Grand on the 19th of September for the week. Now, that's a Tuesday. It's a great piece. I play the grandmother in it. I'm literally old enough to be their grandmothers most of them in it. We've got Ray Quinn in it from... what did he do, darling?
He come dancing, didn't he?
I can't remember what he did. Anyway, one of those programmes. Who's a very nice lad. A wonderful lad as well. Incidentally, most of all these people have done great musicals like Les Mis and Evita. The man that's playing the wedding singer is a man called John Robbins, who actually was brought up in Cardiff and was a founder member of Only Men Allowed. He has the most superb voice, I do have to say. We've had wonderful notices so far, and I hope, touch wood and the good Lord, that they continue. But it's a great piece. It's a feel-good piece, Gaynor. There's no cynicism in it whatsoever. It's based on the film, starred Adam Sandler, and it's a really, really good piece.
Oh, I think we've got some
sharing
film
it
to
for a
show.
moment.
Yes.
Great.
Never too late to move that thing. Saturday night in the city. Saturday night in the city.
We've jump to keep you in your seat there.
Yes, we go holding you back. And you have some great fun with the waterbed, I hear.
Oh, yes, it's great. A friend of mine actually came to see it, who is American. She said, oh, Rose, she said, I remember those waterbeds. I said, do you, Marcia Ray? Oh, she said, yes, I had one. Really? I said, oh. She said, yes, it was my first husband. She's now on her third.
Oh. So there's no thoughts of buying a waterbed. Oh, great. Oh, but it's lovely to see you looking so healthy. But I know at one time there was a problem, John, with your health. You had a hip
Two hips, Keith, yes.
Yes, and then, but there was a more serious problem that occurred, and with the aneurysm, and the good people of Gleneath helped you.
Oh, fantastic! They were fantastic. Gleneath people, and thank you very much, everyone. Have been fabulous ever since we've lived in the village. You know, well, at town, I should say.
It is a town.
They're just marvellous. I love them to pieces.
They rallied round?
They rallied round. Ruth would be away. People would come in and look after me and just pop in and say, can we do anything, you know?
Well, he had an aneurysm on the aorta, which is very serious. Yeah. I mean, you know, the aorta is, you know, the lifeblood of the body. And I'd already been booked to go to Blackpool pantomime, and we didn't really know what to do. Should we cancel? Blah blah blah. Yeah. Well, he was only in 5 days. I mean, they are amazing, these operations these days. He was in 5 days, but of course it was 3 weeks actually recovering from the operation. And during that time, people came in, a lady called Michelle helped me enormously to look after him, gave him meals, blah, blah, blah. People cooked for him. And then he came up, didn't you, love, to Blackpool. So everything, I could see things, but it was awful, really, because I actually had a letter saying, you know, if anything happens to this guy, to get him into an operating theatre within half an hour.
The Royal Victoria.
You know, the
Hospital,
Victoria.
Blackpool.
Well, the
You know,
picture helps now. And
He's marvellous.
we're calling you the bionic man.
Yes, he's done very well.
So friends and community all
And
obviously
just
very
pulled
important.
together
Yeah.
and helped
And
as much as they could.
family, if you've got...
I have 2 children, one of 50 and one of about 43, I think she's coming up
Laurie.
for.
What about grandchildren?
Laurie and Rees. And I have 5 grandchildren.
Oh, right.
3 on Gibraltar, 2 in St Albans. But, you know, genes will out, won't they? We've got one little girl amongst those 5, an 8-year-old. There's just one, well, not second time. She's run the whole of Andalusia for gymnastics, and the British squad have just picked her up to train for
Name to watch, then.
4 times
name
a
to
year.
watch, yes.
A name to watch. Lily Murphy.
Lily Murphy.
She did her first competition international at the beginning of this year. Her mother brought her over, my daughter brought her over, and she came second. But the judges didn't know where this kid had come from. So they thought she was Russian. So she goes back to Gibraltar and they all start calling her Lily, her name is Lily Murphy, Lily Madorovsky, they were calling her, because they thought she was Russian.
Oh, that sounds tremendous. That does.
You've got to take everything in perspective, you know, when you come into anything to do with, I think, the public. Everything's got to be in perspective.
So, a busy life at home and on the stage.
Yeah.
So, just very briefly, what's the biggest challenge? Just the next few seconds. Still up for challenges? Yes or no?
Am I up for next few seconds? The biggest challenge is for me. I'd like to keep going next year. This finishes in
of course, the wedding singer
October.
coming up, but we have to stop because we want to thank all our guests today and for all our viewers for watching us.
And if you're expecting a film, today's is Enchantment, starring David Niven.
And with that, thank you all. Away to Holy Home Video.
See all of them faces out walking alone with nothing but a smile and the headphones on. I don't like to share, but I've got something to spare. You wanted my body, that didn't seem fair. Come on and come all in. Won't you get it how I can? We're running low on supply and demand, and I've only got so much to give. Time to be alive. Lover, come over. I wanna be by your side. You say something sweet like, just come back to bed. You wanted my body, you got my love instead. Come on and come all in. Won't you get it how I can? We're running low on supply and demand, and I've only got so much to give. Well, don't say that I've never tried. No, I'm not looking for someone to break down the doors, someone to tear down these walls. Take less when I'm looking for more, to love me when I'm not sure, as I sit here by the phone, holding ain't gonna call, but falling asleep on my own. Some nights I don't sleep at all.